welcome back to Colorful Situations, where we have conversations about love, marriage, and everything in between. I'm Sunny.
Hey, hey. And you know me, I'm Liv. How y'all doing today?
How y'all feeling?
Yes. So, we are everyday women who talks about everyday issues that affect relationships without the pretty bow. We're also going to identify our feelings and how it can change a situation. So, with that being said, we always check in with each other. We want to know how we are. So, how you feeling today?
I am relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
And on the Gottman feeling wheel that we're using, that is green for peaceful, you know.
Okay.
So let's see if I can. Okay, I'm green. How are you?
I have been up and down. I have not been in one region of the goddamn feeling wheel. I've been all around this thing. I've been
That's all
multiple
right.
colors,
That's all right.
and it is okay. But today I am orange, and I'm orange because I'm aware. I'm aware of things that I do well. I am aware of things that I don't do so well. And I'm just aware of the changes that I need to happen in my life, the things that I need to do, how I need to move the needle, um, decisions I need to make. I'm aware, and it's a good thing. Doesn't always feel good at the time because you may be faced with something that you really don't want to do,
Mm-hmm.
but being aware is a good thing, and that's where I am. So, we today are going to talk about the big C.
The big C? The big C?
The big C.
What is the big C?
Well, the big C means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, and
Right.
some people assign a pink color to it, but we ain't talking about that big C.
Oh, okay. What are we talking about big C?
We're talking about conflict.
Oh, okay.
That big thing.
Okay. Yeah, that is definitely a big
Because it's
thing.
a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's huge. And is it good or bad?
I think conflict is good. Keeps you on your toes.
It does. It does keep you on your toes. What we want to talk about a little bit today, though, in romantic love, is conflict necessary? Do you need it in a relationship?
Is conflict necessary?
Mm-hmm.
I think I would say that it is necessary because one is it's gonna happen. It's
Yeah,
inevitable.
yeah,
So you have to have conflict again. Like I said before, I don't change my answer to keep you on your toes too.
yeah.
So in addition to it's gonna happen anyway because you're two different people bringing two
Mm-hmm.
different lives and two different life
Yeah.
experiences and
Mm-hmm.
morals and values and all of that kind of stuff. So there's going to be conflict and it's okay. So I think, yeah, you gotta have some conflict because everything is not peaches and cream. And if it is, okay. If everything
If
is
it is,
always peaches and cream,
uh, it's you got that pretty bow that we be talking about that we don't want to
okay.
have.
Right.
It's fake. Something is going on. Either you got a yes, girl, or it's fake, or you ain't really got nobody, and you just telling everybody that something is all good.
Right. And that's not to say that things can't be peaches and cream, but it's not that way all the time.
All the time, yeah.
It's not that way all the time for anyone. And I listen to a lot of couples that have been together for a very long time, and they talk about how they've come through things, ups and downs, and how many years of conflict that they had.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying either it's something that's always have to happen. It's not going to always be in play. So yeah, it's not. Yeah, nah. What she said, you got something extra going on. If it's always peaches and cream, you doing something else.
You're doing something else, or you're feeding, you're putting sprinkling a little something on them because, or maybe there's no conflict there because you're the yes girl, and you just keep going with, and inside There may not be conflict between you and your partner, but there is a war and conflict going on in here. And I could speak on it and talk about it because I did go there, buy the t-shirt and live there for a little bit.
Have a drink about it.
Yeah. So, conflict. Conflict is seen as a negative word. You know, sometimes people think that if you have too much of it, it's not good. But in my opinion, it is good. In my opinion, it is necessary in a relationship. Because like you said, everybody is not going to think the same or be the same. And then it's also going to open up some, opportunities for you. Yeah, opportunities for you. And I don't want somebody that's always going to be okay with what I do. Like, I don't want somebody that's just going to go with me or just going to lay down every time, because my sole goal as a person is to elevate.
Right.
How do you elevate if there's no proponent for change? How do you elevate if you don't know that it could be a better way of doing something or a better way of thinking? You know, um, so it is necessary. It is needed in a relationship, in my opinion.
So that's ultimately someone that's holding you accountable and someone that is giving you a different perspective.
Yes.
Now, I don't know about it's okay to have a lot of conflict. I think it's okay to have some conflict, but you shouldn't be 80% of your relationship in conflict. Now, you should have some. Yeah, that's a lot.
But think about it. There are different seasons, right? And because we all elevate and we all evolve, when you first get into a relationship, it's going to be that sweet spot and everything is going to be good and all that type of stuff. But then what about those seasons where you have conflict, like not 7 days a week, but a good 50-60% of your time in that season, you're going through some hard stuff. How do you pull things out? How do you get to grow? How do you get to know that you can make it? How do you learn some of those lessons of, you know what? I've been trying to take score every time. I'm just taking score. Okay, I'm not gonna take score no more. How do you get to know where you need to change?
I get that. I get it. I know you just played your case. I get that, but I mean, I also feel like I know that there are seasons, but those seasons don't have to because a season can last long enough to push you away or to push you into a whole different season of your life as one person. So having too much conflict, I think, I don't think that's a good thing. Of course, you do learn things about yourself, you learn things about your spouse, but too much conflict, you gonna blow up on the inside. It gotta be something. No, it has to be a balance.
Yeah.
I think it has to be a balance.
It does have to be a balance, but I think that sometimes life is not about balance. It's sometimes. Sometimes it's just not. It is just what it is until you learn that lesson. And I can only say that because for me in my life, there have been certain things where I've gotten stuck in, or I hit my head on something and then I'm hitting my head on it and it just don't move because that conflict doesn't move because I, for one, didn't learn the lesson that I was supposed to learn out of it. For two, I'm stubborn and just stuck in it because I just know that it's going to bend the other way. I'm going to keep on. So that conflict's probably season is a little bit longer than normal because I am trying to bend it to a way that I want it to be instead of just learning the lesson from it and getting through it. Hey, you girl, I'm being very transparent here. We do have some people that try to bend something their way and you end up being met with conflict.
Yeah. And I think we had this conversation before where I asked, as a person that is gonna bump your head 100 times before you figure out what it is that's going on, where's the growth in that? if you keep bumping your head, and deciding to bump your head, where's the growth? Because what we're talking about is conflict. We just said that conflict ultimately it builds character and it teaches you about yourself. What is it teaching you to bump your head 100 times?
Well, you'll end up learning the balance. For some people, it takes 10 times. For some, it may take one. For some people that may go unnamed. But for some people, it may take one. We talked about this too. Sometimes there are different levels. So for me, what I learned out of that is now I learn the balance. Where it used to be before, it would be I bump my head 20 times.
Mm-hmm.
The growth comes in the balance of, okay, you can put yourself out there and it's okay because that's who you are. But now let's figure out where and how, or let's move this over here. Now you didn't learn the whole lesson, but you learned this part of the lesson. So let's just say I've learned a lot from being in conflict, and it may not seem like I have because I'm going into the same thing, but I go into it a little bit different than I did the first time I went into it. So that's what I learned from it.
That's understandable.
Okay. So why is conflict seen as such a negative thing? Why do you think that is?
One reason I say it's negative to people that don't know how to deal with it, that don't know how to handle it, that don't know how to communicate.
Yeah.
It's difficult for those people. I mean, it could be seen negative for those people because you don't know anything that you don't know how to handle. We just talked about ignorance in things. It's fearful. It makes you fear, so yeah, if you don't know how to handle it, of course it's not going to be a positive thing for you. I also think that it's negative because it just depends on the people that you have. Well, I think that might be the same thing, but like if you have two people that are really conflict oriented, that's ready to go at all times, that's always on 10,
gonna pop out.
Yeah, and that's a part of that balance.
Yeah,
like I'm the conflict. My wife is the total opposite. I'm the problem. I'm the problem in this thing. I'm the conflict side, and my wife is the smooth, easygoing one. So when you have my life, and she lets me be as crazy as I need to be for as long as I need to be, before she calm me down or get me together. Yeah, before she put her foot down. So I think that's it.
Yeah,
I could look at her like, never say anything when I'm trying to talk to you, when we trying to solve a problem. So to me, that's negative. Yeah. So I think it really just depends on what role you're playing in it.
I see. I think that I just look at it on a whole as far as the society thing, right? Especially for women. For men, they can say what they need to say or do whatever, and it's not seen as a conflict. For us, when we express what it is that we need, or when we express something different than the norm or what that person is trying to put out there, then it's an issue. Oh, she's combative. She's
an angry black woman.
Or just an angry woman, period. Yeah. And at the end of the day, for me, it doesn't have to be a negative thing, but it is seen that way because society has set it up to where we're supposed to go with the norm. And anything outside of the norm or anything outside of going with the grain is seen as negative or bad because you're going against something, right? And then the whole society puts the whole authority on things. In relationships, sometimes there tend to be, an authority or this one over that one. It should be leveled. But at some point, if you are the one that is the breadwinner for your family in the situation, and if the person who you think is not the breadwinner says something about finances, then it may be a conflict because I'm the breadwinner. When it to me, it just ultimately comes down to maybe the strong one or the someone feeling a little inferior in something,
Mm-hmm.
that's where the conflict come in, and it's tend to be taken negative because of the feelings that is surrounded around that. For me, someone may feel bad about it, or they feel like they're being told something, and then now it's a negative thing because it's a negative experience.
Well, I don't think that, and I'm only thinking about me and my wife. We both know that we're both, one of us is good at something.
Mm-hmm.
Like my wife is good at putting stuff together. I'm good at giving orders. So when we have like things to put together in the house, I'm gonna get the directions. I'm gonna open the book and I'm gonna call them out, and she's gonna boom, 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 whatever, and put it together. And we did it. You know what I mean? So we both know that we have skills that the other person doesn't, and that's a part of being in a relationship. Is that when you can't, I can, and vice versa. We got each other. It shouldn't be I can't do this, so that just makes me feel like I'm, as you said, inferior because I can't. No, it's not. I'm here for you. You're supposed to be here for me. So if you are feeling that way, let me know. We can talk about it. I'm good at doing this. You're not. It's okay. It doesn't make you less of anything that you think you are. It doesn't make you less of anything just because you can't do something. But I can, and it's okay. I can do it. You comfortable with that? We should be on the same page. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, you should be, but it doesn't always fall that way. It should be that someone is okay with saying, "Oh yeah, well we're this or that or whatever." And then again, we're also talking about we may be talking about relationships at different phases, right?
Right.
It's easier when you're more seasoned and been with each other, and you've already created that. It's a little bit harder in the beginning when you're new and you're trying to figure things out, So it doesn't have to be a negative thing, but it is seen as negative, and I think it's seen that way just because of how things are set up, and the feelings that are behind it. So the next question is, some people, because they feel like it's a negative thing, like to just not deal with it. Just like, I'm just not going to have it.
You mean so that lump under the rug can be so tall, can be taller than you at one point? Just sweep it under the rug and don't talk about it. Well, how does that work? Because if I have something that I need to talk about and I need to clear my head and I don't get a chance to, it's gonna roll over. And that's that snowball effect of things. And that's not a good thing in a relationship. Not saying that, I mean, I could say a whole bunch of stuff about a whole bunch of stuff, but I have worked on a lot of stuff. So I'm not nitpicking at a whole bunch of stuff. But I mean, not saying that you have to say something about everything. You got to pick and choose. And that comes with growth too, what it is.
Yeah.
Like the people say, pick your battles.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if it gets to a point where I am picking my battle and I still can't talk to my wife about it because she just doesn't want to talk about it, or it's not something that impacts her, it's going to impact me. Like you said, you got something on the inside that's boiling up.
Yeah.
Boiling up. All of these things that I can't talk about because you think it's negative or it's not important to you. It's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
A constant problem and then when it blows up, it's a possibility that it could be too late to put things back together. Too far gone. It could be too far gone. So no, you gotta do something better. You gotta grow up.
Well, and my question was,
sorry. What's your question?
She's answered it. Does avoidance works? And no. Avoidance does not work because it just because you don't want to do it or just because you're choosing to avoid it doesn't mean it's not there.
Right.
Doesn't mean it's not going to ever be there. And you can't, if you're working so hard to avoid things, where are you present to work on the things?
The energy could be solving the issue so we can move on to the next issue. At least it's a new issue. Hopefully it's a new issue. Then if we have to move on to anything at all,
Yeah.
You could be using that energy. Use your energy for good.
Well, and the real thing for me is, why are you avoiding it? What is the true reason why you're avoiding it? Is it because you feel like it's a real thing? Whatever that person is saying to you, do you feel like it is true and that's why you're avoiding it? Do you feel like you don't have the safe space to say what you really need to the other person? Do you feel like if you say it to the other person, it will hurt their feelings? But avoiding it just prolongs that hurt and that feeling that they're going to have anyway. And by the time they have it, it is so big. And you have just put it off so long, or maybe avoided it by lying about it. And now, boom. Now you got something going on. So, conflict is hard. It is hard, but avoiding it does not serve anybody or a purpose for anything.
It's harder. Conflict is hard, but avoiding it is harder.
It's harder because, like you said, you do build that up. And we're not even talking about conflict with, we are talking about conflict with a relationship, within your relationship or whatever. But a lot of times, again, when you're avoiding it and you're just cutting it off, it's still deep down in your subconscious somewhere. So whatever you're avoiding 20 years ago, whatever you avoided when you were 11, whenever you avoided when you were 20, whatever you avoided when, you stopped doing whatever it was, it's still going to be there.
Right.
And so then now you're starting something else, something new, or you're older and something comes about.
And you still avoiding the same stuff.
You still avoid it, but it's there. And then what happens when it comes to you? You either got to find somewhere else to sweep it, or it's going to topple over.
You know what that is? You're in a spin cycle.
I
already talked about that. Go ahead.
Go and find that episode.
You're in a spin cycle.
I mean, hey, you're in it. And those feelings, just because you cut them off, does not mean that it's going to, solve itself. Or just because you don't talk about it doesn't mean it's going to go away.
It's going to reappear in a different form.
In a different person.
Form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even in the same relationship, it's going to reappear. And again, you're going to be in that cycle where, why can't we get around this? Well, you avoided it. You avoided it.
I don't know. I'm not I don't think I'm an avoidant person, but it kind of just don't make sense. Because if you're going to be in a relationship and y'all are going to have issues and you're going to avoid things, but the issues are still going to be there and you don't want to do, what's the purpose of doing all of that? You put yourself and somebody else through a whole lot of stuff. I mean, unless y'all know that one of my big things is being willing.
Yeah.
You have to be willing. If you're willing to work on it, work through it, and all that other kind of stuff, that makes an enormous difference in the spin cycle or the avoidance that you're going through, so.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Well, y'all know what it is. We talked about it. So, it's that time to check where you are and to see if you are in the colorful situation of the big C, of the conflict, in the land of the conflict. So if you find yourself like, you know what, I am in a conflict, or I'm constantly in this, or we always arguing about that, or this makes me feel, some type of way, you're in this and you're in the red.
If you are working on it, if someone has come to you, or if you just feel inside yourself, hey, I have this conflict that I need to deal with. I need to deal with this. Well, actually, you're not dealing with it, you're actually still in the red.
You're in the red, yeah.
But if you have a conflict and you're willing to talk about it with someone, with the dog, Liz, talk about it with someone so that it can be up and out. You're in the yellow because you're willing to work on it.
Yeah.
And if you're good with conflict and y'all know how to Talk it out in real soft voices. Y'all can hug while y'all, because I was looking at a video of this couple the other day. They were talking about the best way to do conflict, so they put their heads together.
Girl, I saw that. They're so cute.
Yeah, if y'all doing that, you in the green. You're in the green, but that don't mean that they don't get wild sometimes. Yeah. But I mean, yeah. So you're in the green.
Yeah. So now we're gonna talk about some results.
I say, besides being willing, since we talk about the big C, I say communication.
Yeah.
Communicate how you're feeling. Communicate what you're thinking in a mindful way, of course, a mindful and considerate way. Yeah. Communicate those things. Communicate it and just get it all out in the open.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And once you do communicate it with your partner and you do it in such a way, hopefully the hope is that you can compromise. You communicate so that you can compromise. Compromise doesn't always mean that, I feel like my point didn't get across, or I feel like I'm giving up something so that you can get something. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to give up anything. It just means that we have to understand each other and where we're coming from on this. Mm-hmm. And then it doesn't have to be your part or my part, but what's something new? Let's create something together that will work for the both of us.
Right.
That's a good thing of compromise. And then once you do that, actually physically do the action of changing. A lot of people don't like that word because they don't like, well, I'm not changing for nobody. But you do have to have some action around it. So if that means that, hey, after we talked about this and we come to this compromise and we know what we need to do and we set a plan, go ahead and do it. Put some work to it.
Let's grow.
Yeah.
Let's grow. If you don't like the word change, let's grow.
Yeah.
Growing for yourself and whoever you are in a relationship with.
Yeah, for sure. And because at the end of the day, it's really ultimately, if we look at it where it's for them, I'm changing for them, then that's not ever, you're never going to do it. But if you look at it as in I'm growing or I'm changing for me, mm-hmm. not for this relationship or for that person, but for me to be the best me, because I know this relationship is where I need to be. It's showing me things about myself. It's moving me into other places. I'm moving, I'm elevating, I'm getting to another plateau. Then do it for yourself. You owe it to yourself to be different. Yeah. And ultimately that's change.
Yeah. So, we all like to be interactive over at Colorful Situations. So we're going to ask some questions here and we're going to put them down in the comments because we want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear how you feel. We want to hear what you think. Have you ever been in a colorful situation, which is called conflict? Have you ever been in a colorful situation called conflict and you didn't even know what it was about? Have you ever been in a conflict where it was so much conflict that you had put off? So much conflict that you have inside yourself?
Yeah.
Conflict that I'm going to say this. Conflict that you caused. All right. Yeah. That's it. I don't say nothing about it. If so, what did you do about it? How did you resolve the conflict? How did you resolve the conflict within yourself? Or how did you resolve the conflict at work? How did you resolve the conflict with your partner? Did you talk about it? Did you still sweep it under the rug? Did you figure out a way? Did you go to therapy 101? I'm just asking. Lastly, if you did, if you do, if it happened to you, how did you get out of it and stay out of it?
Yeah.
We want to know. I mean, we have conflicts too. Hey, you might have something that's useful.
Yes.
Something that somebody can use. How did you get out of it, stay out of it, and when you do backslide back into it, because I know that happens,
yes.
How did you get yourself back on track?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So today we talked about the big C, the word conflict. We talked about, is it necessary? Is it necessary to move the needle in relationships? Why is it a negative thing?
Mm-hmm.
Is it really a negative thing, or is it a good thing? We agreed that it was a good thing because it was a proponent for us to change or to move and do something different. We talked about some resolve. The first one was communicate with your partner. Also, be willing to find out in yourself what it is so that you can effectively communicate it with your partner. After you do that, compromise. And we talked about compromising. Don't look at it as you having to give something up for someone else. Be a willing participant, as my friend says, to say, hey, okay, that's not really what I was thinking, but can you do this? If you can give me 3 days instead of 7 days, I'm in. Right? So doesn't have to be your thought. It doesn't have to be their thought, but just come to something together that you can actually do. The last thing is be willing to change. Be willing to grow. Be willing to do whatever it is that you said you were going to do past that, so that you don't keep having it. Because if you do the first part where you communicate and then you compromise and you say, well, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that, but then I don't do it, it's going to make you feel some type of way. We're going to be right back in the same thing. We're going to be right back in the same conflict because there was no action behind it. So put some action behind it.
Because ultimately, the programs say it only works if you work it. It only works if you work it. You got to do the work behind it.
You do.
What's the first part without the second part?
Hey.
Okay. Well, we want to thank y'all for stopping by and tuning in with us today. We ask that you like, share, subscribe, comment. We're looking. And remember, not all colorful situations are the same, but you have the power to change your hue.